Welcome, friends, to Tanked Up, the podcast all about video games and beer. I'm one of your hosts, Ben, here with Lucy.
Oh, hello.
Hi.
I'm back.
Hooray.
Hooray.
Adol's stepped out again. You've stepped back
Yeah.
in. Will there be an episode with all three of us ever again? Who knows?
Like ships in the night.
Yeah, absolutely. What episode is this? 367. We're going to drink some beers. We're going to talk about some games. Lucy, I see a beer in the background. What are you drinking?
I mean, as you can see, it's a beer from Polly's Brew Co. Called Old Tech.
Oh,
It's a Bohemian IPA.
okay.
5.8%. It's got Mosaic and Simcoe in it. I guess that's it. Yep. Nothing else really on the can. It's got oats in it. Yeah.
What is a Bohemian IPA?
An IPA that's Bohemian. Of course.
I put in Bohemian I, and it does pop up as the first thing. Polly's the beer Old Tech is the fifth listing down in the thing. I don't have any website saying this is what a Bohemian IPA actually is. Just lots of beers that are called Bohemian IPA. There is a beer recipe on a website called Brewer's Friend.
Okay.
Yeah, I will put in Bohemian IPA style and see if anything comes up with that. Here we go. Oh no, that's a Pilsner.
Okay.
It's giving me a what is a Bohemian beer style? According to the International Beer Awards style guidelines, a Bohemian style Pilsner should portray a light-coloured, clear beer with forward hop aromas and flavours that are floral, spicy, herbal and earthy, with a slight malt sweetness and accompanying bitterness. Maybe it's just going to be that, but a bit bigger and a bit IPA-ish.
IPA-ness.
I tried to stay away from it, but
It's impossible.
yes, absolutely. So we'll see. We'll see what a Bohemian IPA is in a few moments' time when Lucy is ready to drink it. I am going to drink a beer from Magic Rock. This was one of those beers I picked up in a large Tesco supermarket a few weeks back, so it's been sat in the fridge for a little while, but it's called Stiggy Pop, and it's 7.3%. As with all of Magic Rock's beers, there's no flavour text. It gives me almost nothing, except that it contains barley and rye. That's it.
I've heard of I'm pretty sure I've heard of the Stiggy Pop beer.
Yeah,
Because
that one.
obviously evokes. Yes, I've had that. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Because obviously Iggy Pop. Remember
Yes.
it because of that. So.
Absolutely. It is a very memorable name, but
Yes.
we'll see whether it's
As
all
is Iggy Pop.
we'll see whether it's all leathery and cocaine filled.
Because there's like an artist called like Iggy Azalea,
Right.
and I was like, is that like Iggy Pop? And it's like, no, Grandma, sit down. I was like, okay. Is that their actual name or
Stage name, just because they're leathery and topless all the time. Probably is that. How close can you get to Iggy Pop? I don't really know. Iggy doesn't really come across as a real name, does it? I suppose.
No. But I was like, are they named after Iggy Pop? And has Iggy Pop has a rebrand like the artist formerly known as Prince?
Just covered in flowers now instead.
Yeah. Oh dear, we're really showing our age.
Just a little bit. Should we roll back round to the beers?
Yes. It's a very pretty beer. Very well, it's a solid block of yellow with slightly foamy, about one finger, like white head. some decent lacing on the glass. Smell-wise, it smells like most Polly's beers. Maybe it's just their house yeast that is just like so reminiscent and familiar. But yeah, it smells like Solero.
Ooh.
Like a bit of mango, bit of citrus, maybe a bit of lemon,
Nice.
a bit of orange, tangerine.
I find Polly's
Good.
tend to lean quite well into those slightly more ripe, danker flavours.
Tell you what's dank. This beer.
Nice.
As soon as you said dank and I had a little swig of it, it has that, like, yes, very dank, almost like fresh hop kind of mustiness.
Yeah.
But that is very nice. That's good.
Good.
I can't remember the last time I had a Polly's beer. It's been a while.
Same.
But flavour wise, yeah, it's got probably like a little bit of melon.
Okay.
Like bit of melon, bit of, as I say, orange. Like that pithy bitterness that you get from like an orange. And yeah, maybe like confusing that a little bit of that bitterness with the pine and stuff like that in there. It's like quite resiny as well. But that's seriously nice. I mean, all their beers are nice. Let's be real. You know, I don't think I've had a bad beer from Polly's ever.
I think I've had a couple of like all right beers, but they've always been the ones that have been in the supermarket. That you always feel, again, don't put anything past any of the brewers that want to put beers into the supermarket, but whether they're just, like mass batch produced sort of thing to get the quantity kind of needed. So that just changes things up just that little bit. Even if it's brewed kind of in-house, they're just using everything to brew a huge batch of it to kind of get it out. And generally with the supermarket, everything's a bit of a lower ABV as well. Polly's are really good at that kind of 6.5 to 8% beer as well.
For sure. Yeah, this is 5.8.
Okay, cool.
I mean, it's got that body to it, so even though it has a lightness of like flavor in terms of like it's very citrusy, it's very piney, very refreshing, but it's not session strength. You can still tell it's got a bit of body, a bit of alcohol in it. But yeah, it's I wouldn't say it's quite as full as some beers like that are just like fruit bombs and got that whole that really big roundness and fullness to it. I wouldn't say it's got that, but that's not a bad thing. This just feels a bit more fresh, a bit more refreshing. But this is nice. But I think probably the last criticism that the only criticism of Polly's that I've ever had is that they put out a lot of beers and a lot of them taste the same.
Yeah.
It's like can't really differentiate this between maybe the next Polly's that I'm gonna have. It's like nothing will stand out in my mind like, oh yeah, the Bohemian IPA was better than this beer, that beer. It's like, no, that's not really the case, but that's also a good thing because I know anything that I pick up from them, it's going to be good.
Yeah.
It's part of the Augment range Old Tech Bohemian IPA. Still don't know what that means, but there you go. But yeah, it's nice. I mean, I'm probably going to finish this before we even start talking about games.
Well,
this might be a 2-beer podcast.
Yeah, let me jump into this one very quickly then. So this is I don't think I mentioned it's a New England IPA. Incredibly sweet nose, like almost refresher bar candy, almost sherbet level of kind of sweetness coming off of it.
Okay.
I don't know whether it's more a combination of some kind of maybe mango, something sweet fruit with a little bit of a floral note, but that combination just comes across as a little bit like almost sherbet. It's similar to your beer, maybe a little bit darker. It did have a fluffy head, which has dissipated a little bit.
Yeah, I think yours is slightly darker shade, right?
Yeah. So, as I was mentioning with the nose, it is more of a combination of something that is a lot riper. So a really ripe kind of sweet mango flavour, which does edge into that dank end. And then this big floral hit.
Mm-hmm.
Something that's really kind of... It's not quite aftershave. It's not quite potpourri. It's up there, though. It's really kind of alcohol, floral sort of note to it, which is very much as a combination, giving me that sort of refresher bar type flavour. But it's got this kind of cutting bitterness in it as well, which is nice. It cuts through quite well. It allows it not to just be sweet, just to the ceiling. It sort of just draws it back down a little bit and allows maybe those slightly more ripe fruit flavours to edge up a little bit over that sweetness. Or over those floral, alcoholic kind of notes that are in there as well. And they don't take sort of precedent over it. They kind of almost, you get kind of both at the start, and that sweetness starts to rise very quickly, but that bitterness just levels it back out again, really, which is good.
Yeah.
The problem, and I think the only issue with this beer, is that because it's quite dry, and that flavour kind of levels out, it all disappears a little bit too quickly. So the lasting flavour that I've got is more of the bitterness, but with that floral alcohol note kind of right at the back of my mouth, like really far back, that you can almost have disappeared entirely, but it's just lingering there enough. But because it's so dry, I've got to go back. I get this kind of rebalance every single time. So let's see what it's like kind of halfway through, and if that doesn't sort of edge constantly through, wanting to sort of balance back down.
I mean, just means you'll just drink it quicker, isn't it?
Absolutely.
It's like, where's the taste gone?
Yes, completely. I haven't had a Magic Rock beer for ages.
The ones that I had recently, gosh, I can't remember what they're called, but they are in like a 440ml can and have that like same kind of art that's on yours. I mean, Magic Rock art hasn't changed too much over the years, to be fair.
Yeah.
Like sort of like black background can and very vibrant abstract colours on it. They were all right. They were better than I thought they would be, considering I hadn't seen Magic Rock for ages in the supermarket. So as you say, quality may not be up to a standard that used to be, Magic Rock like 8 years ago. But they were all right. They were quite nice. So I think they were around about 6.5%, like IPAs and stuff. So yeah, and I was genuinely impressed at I was like, oh, they managed to keep the quality on these ones, but yeah, I just want to make sure it wasn't also Stiggy Pop. Might be on Untapped. Might be.
Ooh.
I'm not very good at Untapped, for the last several
years. For years.
I know you've off completely, but I do it for my own. Times like this where I try and remember which ones I had. Profile. It would have been recently. Yeah. No.
You just track through, like, who knows? Who knows in the
There's
end?
an ad on here. I didn't even know they had ads on here. Yeah, interesting.
I hadn't realised that Magic Rock were no longer Lion Kirin owned.
Who are they owned by now?
They're now owned by Odyssey Inns, and that was a 2022 thing. So I'm only a year behind.
I'm fascinated by these ads. It has to keep afloat somehow, and it's like good for
Yeah,
them,
absolutely. Absolutely.
I just, yeah, I didn't expect to see it.
Yeah.
As long as they're not they're targeted because those are showing shoes that I already own. So let's turn that off, please.
Brilliant.
I'll figure out how to turn those off. I want to see adverts for Viagra, please, and
Nice.
nothing else.
Beautiful.
Yes, yeah,
Um,
stuff I don't need.
so an article in the Brewers Journal,
Hmm.
which is one of the first ones that came up when I put in Magic Rock owners, because I knew that I thought that they were owned by Lion, but obviously not. I'm wrong. So both Magic Rock and 4Pure were acquired by Odyssey Inns back in 2022. Sure,
Okay.
I don't know
I
who
mean,
Odyssey Inns are. Here you go. Little bit of background. The Odyssey team
yeah.
this is, as I say, from Brewers Journal. The Odyssey team is led by Stephen Cox. Stephen is an industry leader and brings with him more than 20 years of experience in the world of hospitality and the UK pub sector. He also co-founded Devon's Utopian Brewing and has worked with,
Oh,
as well as pioneered a number of brands in the hospitality and drinks sector. So hopefully it's some decent people steering the ship again.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what Odyssey Inns are as a company. Obviously, there was a lot of issue around both Fuel Pure and Magic Rock when they were picked up by Lion, and Lion's very sketchy operations in other countries and donations of funds and things like that. It's all up for criticism. Every company that exists in the world is up for criticism. Hopefully Odyssey Inns are just shit. They're just they haven't done anything. They're rubbish. They're boring. Nothing to chat about.
Yeah,
Perfect.
yeah. Let's hope so. But as you say, like the owner, well, the founder of like Utopia, that makes me feel
Absolutely.
better. I haven't done any research into it, obviously. But yeah, that name attached, I guess, makes me feel a bit more comfortable. And as I say, maybe it reflected in the beers that I had recently from
Yeah.
them. Which may or may have not been Stiggy Pop. Don't know.
Who knows? Well,
Sorry. Yeah.
we'll talk about these beers more at the end of the episode. Let's launch then into some games. I don't think we're going to repeat on games that we've played this week, at least, because I played one thing for about an hour.
Okay.
Which I randomly just chose on the old PlayStation Plus Extra game catalog, which is, I forget the full name of it because it sounds like Far Lone Sales, but it's not. It's called.
Are you playing some anime game that has like 12 names?
No.
And
Well,
hyphens and semicolons.
it's got semicolons. Jett, The Far Shore, and Given Time, which was a DLC released for it, which basically doubles the size of the game. Another story element afterwards. Interestingly, with Jett, when you start it up, it comes up saying, do you want to play Jett the Far Shore, or do you want to play Given Time? We suggest, if you want to play Given Time, that you've played the Far Shore first. And at the bottom, it says both, each of them take around about 12 hours to play through. And I'm like, cool, 12 hours is okay for me to kind of pick up and put down over sort of half an hour to an hour sort of sessions over the next kind of few weeks. I don't know if I'll get to Given Time, but so far with Jett, I'm enjoying several things about it and really disliking a few other things about
That's
it.
what I've heard.
I'm really like in the middle with this at the moment, and I think if I give it another hour, that's kind of going to make or break whether I push through with playing it. So as a very brief overview, you kind of, the main element of the game is controlling a ship, kind of like a plane. It sort of hovers, it kind of flies. It's not quite a spaceship, it's not quite a plane. But you are a character who's
I was
basically,
just thinking,
yeah,
is it a bird? Is it a plane? It's not quite a bird. It's not quite a
definitely
plane.
not Superman in any way at all. You are basically sent off to another planet. It's a little bit of story, a little bit of preamble kind of gives you the idea that the world that you're on is ending. You travel around, you do the sort of the tutorial through the planet that you are on, or the planet that you have lived on, and you're getting familiar with the controls of the ship, and it all kind of feels quite nice in terms of sort of speeding up through things and the momentum that you get with that traversal across the sort of the open sea that you're kind of flying across the top of. They call it a pop, but it's like a little jump, so you can kind of jump over obstacles and things like that as you're going through. There's a little bit of management with sort of it's not really a boost. You essentially hold down R2 to go fast, but you can only do so for, I don't know, say like 10 seconds. But then if you let off for maybe 2, it will then let you boost for another 5 seconds, sort of thing. So there's a little bit of management with the sort of the speed that you're having to sort of go around at. And all of this has been absolutely fine. The game looks really good. I like the music.
Yeah.
The sound design works really well.
It looks like Thomas the Tank Engine. Like, I've never seen what this game looks like. I've only just heard about it. But looks like Thomas the Tank Engine.
Well, it's very tonal in its aesthetic. You know, it's kind of you could be forgiven for thinking of some screenshots that it's a little bit kind of No Man's Sky, but it's but actually when you look at No Man's Sky, that is an incredibly vibrant game, just full of color in some spaces, whereas Jett kind of balances out its color with sort of greys and browns, you know, kind of hills that don't have any growth on them, and then maybe some kind of reddish orange kind of grass that floats across sort of the lower slopes of these hills, sort of thing. And the sky always looks like really, really good. There's lots of nice weather effects that are going on as well, and it just looks excellent. It's a very good aesthetic and tone to this game.
Yeah, this guy looks like the Fat Controller. Thomas the Tank Engine. Yeah.
Just
anyway.
rap music on in the background to the same Thomas the Tank Engine beat constantly, all the way through. So I like what I have played so far. My issues, and they're kind of, one's minor and one is quite major. The minor one is that the chat and the text that comes over when the game is saying you should do these things is very slow to react to when I've actually done them. So the game is trying to tutorialize a couple of bits. You get a grapple hook on the ship, which you can control when you get within proximity of things. So basically, you can just send it out to pick something up and take it with you, really. And I'd travelled around, something popped up, and I'm like, oh, what's that? Why is something hovering over this thing that's flying around? Oh, I've got this grapple hook. Cool. Press square. Done. And I'd grabbed it. I'm like, right, what do I do with it now? Well, I'll drop it. Fine, cool. So I dropped it, and I carried on my merry way. And the character that's co-piloting in the back, who is giving you these tutorials, he's talking to you and telling you kind of what to do, basically was like, 5 minutes after I'd grappled, it was like, you should get your grapple hook out because you can grapple the thing that you have found. I'm like, what the fuck? We were talking about something completely different. Where has this bit of sort of speech kind of come from? It's a little bit late. I'm well past all of this now. And I'm finding that happens quite a lot, that I am playing it a little bit quicker than the pace of the game almost wants me to. But there's no kind of detection, I suppose, with the game to go, he's already done that. We don't need to either A, give it to him, or B, have a little bit of flavor text which says, I was going to tell you to use the grapple hook, but you know how to do that now. You know, there's nothing there. It just is almost pre-recorded and goes, cool, you've done A, you've hit point A, so we need to tell you this. You've hit point B, we need to tell you this. You've hit point C, we need to tell you this. Whether you've done the things that it's telling you to or not. So, a little bit of an annoyance, a minor issue. The bigger issue I have is that whilst the ship feels fantastic to fly around in, and to have that big surge of speed and to keep up the momentum, and it's got a lovely little kind of drift as well, so it will break and you can just sort of slide around a little bit and you can pop to the left and right. The game kind of asks you to be stationary a little bit, and you can turn your engines off and sort of just hover, and you might have to scan something or try and pick something up to then take somewhere else and do something with. And that feels quite awkward. I think the game would prefer you to be constantly moving and speed through these spaces. But when you have to go slow, it just feels too slow.
Okay.
And that's the problem with the text or the kind of what the co-pilot is trying to take. It feels a little bit too slow. So on one hand, the game is really good at having this momentum and this pace to it, and it just drags it back by making you do a couple of things. So I think if the game stops doing that, and maybe it's just because it's the tutorial and it's the first kind of hour of the game, it wants you to experience a little bit of everything that you should be doing within this, that maybe it won't happen quite so much as I'm playing through. And that's sort of my hope, that it just allows me to just be like, cool, ping, I'm gone. I'm off to explore this strange new world that we've kind of appeared on and travel around it and all of this sort of stuff. And the kind of the intrigue that comes through the characters that have travelled to this world, because they've already started to establish a few kind of characters and stuff. So it seems like it's a really interesting game.
Yeah.
It's just held back slightly.
That seems frustrating. It's sort of like if you were playing Spider-Man and like every time he gets a call from MJ, you have to like sit on a roof or do the Gears of War, like hold my finger to my ear, slow walk.
Yes.
Although in Gears of War they did it very well, because it's like press the button to look at the big monster over there. I was like, that's Gears is so good. Anyway, I don't know how we got to Gears of War. But yeah. I mean, on Steam it says mostly positive reviews, which is, I can't believe this game came out in 2021. I thought it was last year. But from like all the podcasts that I listened to, when it came out, because this is like the game from here it even says on the Steam page. Immersive sim elements from Super Brothers,
yes.
For Sword and Sorcery EP. Yeah, which was like, I think because it's like cult status almost, that game. Like, I enjoyed it, but not to the point where it was like, oh, this is amazing, this is like seminal, history books kind of game. I think it was because very much early, like, mobile phone game where, it was at that time, where it's like, this is novel, and anything that isn't just like microtransaction crap that comes out on mobile is like good. But yeah, honestly, I don't think it's one that I will ever get around to. But it seems cool. The art style's cool. I think what would probably interest me most is if the story went anywhere. So if you continue playing it, let me know.
Yeah.
But yeah. I mean, I think PlayStation Plus Extra is probably the perfect place for you to play it, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I completely agree. It's one of those kind of games. The amount of games that we've kind of picked up a little bit for 10 minutes when we all had Game Pass and gone, cool, I played 10 minutes of that. I don't need to play anymore.
Yeah. Exactly.
It is
there was literally a game that looks like this where you play it as this little disc and just flying through the air, and I could not play it because I just couldn't work out the controls. And it was like, yeah, I tried it. No, I'm
Fair.
good. Thank
And
you.
that's all you can do. Just try it. See
Yeah.
what it's like. I
Yeah.
do have Life is Strange True Colors downloaded as well,
Uh,
ready to kind of start.
Christ. I
Um,
think that left Game Pass recently. It was on my
okay.
list to play, so that's upsetting. Just haven't played games this year. It's
Yeah, it's
you
it's
know,
a difficult time
yeah,
to find
yeah.
that space to be able to do it in. I was playing through The Last of Us,
Mm-hmm.
and had to drop it. It's still installed. I can go back to it whenever I want, but because of when the kids were coming down, and I was coming down first with Indy, just being able to kind of put her on the floor so she can play and I can kind of put the PlayStation on. As soon as Evelyn came down, I'm like, right, well, the zombie exploding game has to go off of the telly because she picks up on fucking everything.
Oh dear.
So let's play something that
At
is,
that age.
she sat there reading subtitles. I'm like,
Oh
well,
no.
can't even put
When
my
they can
headphones
read, it's
in
game
now.
over.
Just,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So something like Jett, which is a little bit sort of story heavy, but is maybe a bit more abstract, isn't quite as easy to pick up on. Maybe if you're a passive observer, then you're actually kind of actively playing the game. True Colors, I think, will be an interesting one to try and balance whilst having her within the room still. Because I think it deals with a lot of heavy subjects that would probably
Well,
be really weird
you
if
know what?
taken out of context. If she suddenly looks at the screen and starts to read subtitles, like why is that person affecting people's moods and all of this sort of shit? It's like, oh, it's just a game. Don't worry about it. It's fine. Just so
Well, she's lived through one pandemic. She can take this. You know, she's
that's true.
hardened.
Absolutely,
Endured
yeah, yeah.
the age of what is she 8, 6?
6.
Yeah, 6.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's gonna be like Ellie and just stabbing zombies in the neck. in
Maybe
2
I should,
years.
just in case, actually, maybe I should play The Last of Us. So she's like, oh, I know what to do. Cool, this is a good
Yeah.
instruction video of
You
what
know
I
how
need
to
to.
make a gun now.
Yes.
And like pipe bombs. That's what you want to teach a kid at the
Just
age
get a
of
phone
6.
call from school, like, Evelyn had a shiv in her pocket, and we don't know why. It's like, well, I don't fucking know.
She might need it.
Yeah.
You never know when the
Yeah,
zombie outbreak's
exactly.
going to
Talk
start.
to her about it. Why are you phoning me?
And if any pandemic should ever start, it would definitely be at like a school where all those nasty little children are. So, you know, just
That's very
preparing her.
true. Yeah,
Preparing
absolutely. But yeah, so I'll continue on a little bit with Jett. Sort of see how it goes. If I do drop it, then you'll be hearing about Life is Strange next week.
Okay.
If not, and I do continue with it, I'll probably shut
Yeah.
up next week and just open the floor to everybody else. But yeah, that's it really for me. So Lucy, what have you been up to for the last 2 weeks now? Actually,
Yeah, I mean, not much. Still Vampire Survivors every now and then to get my achievements
nice.
for my Microsoft Rewards points. But other than that, I did play, was it yesterday? Shadows of Doubt, which is
Oh yeah,
the early access immersive sim detective game. Because it's in early access, it's like, okay, I don't want to binge on it too much just yet. So I was just like, okay, I'll see what it's about because it seems really cool. It's very much a Deus Ex FPS. It's all made out of voxels. Basically, it like procedurally generates the cities and all the inhabitants and like cases. You're basically playing as like, you know, noir detective kind of stereotypical you know, detective, even though there's not much story originally. It opens the game with like, okay, it's basically Blade Runner. You know, it's like so in the near future everything's gone to pot. You know, metropolitan cities and basically now going back to like 1980s New York, like just rife with crime and everything like that. So it's just like, okay. very Blade Runner-ish, but set in this like really cool voxel like world. It, it's very striking. I need to get it up on the PC, my PC and proper PC. I've played it on Steam Deck, and it's not the most ideal place to play it. Not because it doesn't work, because even like just dropping down the settings, it's like it runs fine. Maybe a few hitches here and there on the Steam Deck, but otherwise, it's very much playable. And out of the box, they have controller like prompts and stuff like that, but it is very much a game that I just want to get up on the PC.
Yeah.
Like maybe when it comes out officially, get it up on the PC, run it at like the max settings that I can, because like the lighting looks really good, and just the whole ambiance and environment, and that very dingy looking noir look, but set in like a voxel art style. It looks really good. So yeah, but it runs on Steam Deck fine. As I say, it's got because it's an immersive sim and it's got so many different things you can do within the world. It's like, okay, I just tried it on Steam Deck for convenience, but I will get it up on the PC because it's like, yeah, mouse and keyboard is going to be the best thing to play it with. Because there is so much to do. I launched into the game in a pre-built scenario where it's like, okay, we know what cases are going to be, we know what's the outlay of the city, which NPCs and their daily cycles. It's like I loaded into a pre-made thing, as pre-made as you can get, because it is all like procedurally generated. But just for a tutorial mode, you can just jump in there already, like just create a random world for me, like this random seed, which is really cool, like Minecraft almost. But I went into the one that was like tutorial, because it's like, okay, I need to figure out how this game works, first time playing the tutorial mode. But yeah, you just start there in your apartment, and it's like, okay, you get this. It's so cliche. You get this note slid under your door, and it's like, okay, it's got a name. It's like, why? Who's this? Why are they sending me a name? I just have just a name. And it's like, okay, you look in the phone book at the directory and stuff like that, and you go to their apartment. But like, all between like, just doing like very simple things at the start, like, okay, figuring out who this person is, knowing where they live, and going to it. It's like, I already feel like all the different possibilities of things. It's like just looking around the apartment, and it's like you pick up most objects, and you imagine like a lot of these objects are going to have reasons to be there, like batteries or salt or something like that. And it's just like, oh, okay. And it does a really good job of tutorializing it. It is giving you, walking you through this scenario. It's very much like, okay, like a Hitman level. If you turn on all the tutorials and everything, it's like, okay, it's literally just going to hold your hand all the way through, which is what this is doing. But in the back of my mind, I'm just thinking, oh, okay, when I'm let loose on my own, I'm just thinking of all the different things and all the different possibilities. But it's basically like, okay, I've got the name of this person. It's like, okay, I went to their apartment. They're dead on the floor. And it's like, oh, how did that happen? And it's like, you can fingerprint things, like check for prints all around the apartment. It's like, if a camera picks you up, it's like, okay, you're probably, someone might sign the alarm or something, get caught, or you can disable alarms. Everyone's got like different schedules. So it's like, okay, this person goes to work at this time and comes back home at this time. And it's like, I went into this apartment building to find them that had, gosh, I think it was like 14 floors. And it's like, I just feel like, okay, I'll just go to a random one first, veer from like the tutorialized path. And it's like, okay, there was this woman in this apartment, I had to like punch her because I went there and just, trespassed on her property. But it's like, oh, if you take something from this property, like individual items, and you're like caught with them, it's like, okay, this is like can amount to this fine and that fine, and it's like just so many endless possibilities of like, okay, I can find out who this person is by like the photographs that they have in their house
Nice.
or the ID card that's like left on a counter, or you know who last called on their phone, and just all these different things. And like it's I think the yeah, I mean it'd be cliche of me to say like the possibilities are endless, but it's going to be incredible to see in that procedural generation how many different types of like scenarios they can produce from using the mechanics of that world. Like say this killer, maybe it's like you know, you could find out how he killed this guy just from fingerprinting a hammer and then finding out where the hammer was bought, and you know, maybe going through CCTV cameras or computer logs of who bought this from, you know, this store. Or maybe it's like, okay, I call the number who last called him. Is this, you know, someone who was there that night?
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
did they see who they were with? Did they know if they were, you know, a work colleague? Did they not show up to work or every this day or that day? So it's like so many things that they could do with what seems to be like the mechanics that I've only scratched the surface of just in like the first bit of the tutorial. Yeah, I think this is one to look out for. I mean, it
It
seems really
seems
cool.
insane that it
Hmm.
has that level of freedom to it, because when you think of immersive sim, you think of something like Deus Ex or the games that have kind of spun around that idea of an immersive sim. They're actually quite restrictive in what they allow you to actually do. You know, yes,
Hmm.
you've got to get into this room to find an item, and Deus Ex is very kind of linear in its story progression in how it wants
Hmm.
you to approach it. And it is, yes, it's an immersive sim because you have approach number one, shoot the fuck out of everything. Approach number two,
Yeah.
stealthily go through the vents. Approach number
Yeah.
three, hack the
Yes.
door and the cameras. And it's kind of those three things. And you pick
Hmm.
whichever one you
Hmm.
want to do. And you maybe spec out a build to improve on some of those things. Same with something
Hmm.
like Cyberpunk when it came out. And kind of everything is sort of revolved around this idea that an immersive sim, even things like Deus Ex, not Deus Ex, Dishonored and stuff, which
Hmm.
isn't quite an immersive, but sort of edges on that kind of
Yeah. Yeah.
side of things. You have these different ways of being able to achieve the same goal, let's say.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
sounds like you're trying to achieve a goal, but you've got 20 different ways of being able to do it, 40 different ways of
Yeah.
being able to do it. And none of them revolve around necessarily having to have a set of skills which you've specced out in a skill tree. It's actually
Yeah.
kind of just man about town with just his
Yeah.
normal kind of, you know, living his life. Yes, he's in a slightly noir, almost Blade Runner-esque type future city, but and he may have certain things at his disposal that he can use, like the fingerprint kit and those sorts of things. But actually,
Hmm.
there's lots of environmental clues. There's lots of active clues
Hmm.
and this sort of stuff to be able to sort of tie all of this together. And I see from some of the images on Steam, you know, suddenly there's this kind of web of little
Yes.
pictures of people
Got like
and
a
bits of,
chalkboard that you can
yeah,
pin things to.
absolutely, and
Yeah.
all of these lines going between them and
And
extra
literally
pieces of
every
information and
object in
stuff.
the game has like, you know, you can pin it. So like say I picked up this hammer, and it's like, okay, it tells me, okay, what it is, what is a hammer, yeah, but it could be like, okay, where it was bought, and then I can, maybe there's a link between, I don't know, the shop where it's bought and maybe the shop's owner, and like all this and all that. So you can pin like literally anything on a corkboard
Mm.
and like do the classic detective thing in that, which is, you know, I think a lot of games strive to do, but it's like probably don't have the systems in place for it to be as comprehensive as you'd want it to be and
Mm.
feel like an actual detective.
I think
So,
that's the limitation, isn't it? A lot of the time, it's the systems
mhm.
and the
Yeah.
power of whatever console. You know, what was Deus Ex? The last Deus Ex came on PS3 generation rather than
What was it?
PS4 and
Human Revolution.
Human
There was one
Revolution.
after that,
Yeah.
wasn't there? That came out. I swear there was
Um.
one last generation. That wasn't that good.
Oh no, I don't know. I don't know. All the
Average.
I think because the
There was.
last roll on Deus Ex as a franchise was 2 games, which was planned to be 3, but they never released and
Oh.
they never finished that trilogy. So they never finished the 3rd game. A very quick Google will let us know.
Yeah,
One
it
was
the one that
one was
was
Human
like very
Revolution.
average. Was that the PS3
Mankind
one? Or...
Mankind
Yes,
Divided,
Man Divided. Yeah, that's the one.
which was a PS4 and Xbox One game.
But yeah, I mean, like you spoke of like the original Deus Ex and stuff like that, or even the original ones. A lot of it is like shoot or try something else. Like
Yep.
whereas in this is very much more of a, I don't know, a heady thinking man's kind of game. Like if it's like based on like actual detective work. Whereas like, you know, a lot of, especially the more recent Deus Exes, we're following a story.
Yep.
Whereas this just seems like, no, we're just gonna have crimes and it's like solve them. From what I can gauge, I don't know if there's gonna be an actual like story mode or just like pop into a randomly generated world and figure it out. Sort of like I don't know what the new Hitman mode gosh, what's it called? I can't even remember, but it's more of a roguelitey kind of thingy.
Yeah,
And
World
where
of
it's like,
Assassination is the new
I think
title
that's
for the whole thing, isn't it?
yeah. I can't remember what the particular mode was, but it feels like more of that where you're using your own deduction rather than following the beats of the story. But you know, like even back way when I remember seeing recently, it was like a GIF of like Deus Ex and they're trying to like hop over like these lasers by like stacking these boxes or something, and like the box set fire to like there was an oil drum there like
Yeah.
on fire, and the box like set alight, and then like this just these bits of paper were just like scattered from like the boxes and set off the alarm. And it's like this is a game from like 2001.
Yeah.
It's just like, you know, having those systems there in place is like just nuts. But
Yeah.
so yes, it seems impressive what they can do now, but it's like, you know, all the GPU and CPU in the world now, it's like, yeah, maybe they should be able to do this.
Sure.
But yeah, I think, as you say, I think it'll live and die on the amount of scenarios that they can put into the game and put into a procedurally generated world where it's not always the same, you know, string of, okay, this is the victim, this is the murder weapon, this is, you know, it's not, hopefully it won't be like
Yeah.
Cluedo,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it's like, you know, hopefully they will have, with all these systems, the hope is like, they'll just think of random things that like most people wouldn't have thought of, or maybe the community can make things that most people wouldn't have thought of. And yeah, that's the hope. That's the hope. As I say, it's still in early access. I think I played about 2 hours of it,
Okay.
and I got killed. So
Oh wow.
it's like, you know, I tried to escape the apartment and it didn't go too well.
Didn't have
Yeah,
enough
and the
skill
whole
in
place got locked down.
getting in fucking air
Yeah,
vents or something like.
yeah, there are
Yeah.
events. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, of course. But yeah. So
Interestingly, the description for the game on Steam is an immersive sandbox detective stealth game set in a fully simulated sci-fi noir city of crime and corruption. Think like a private investigator and take on jobs to earn cash on your path to catching a serial killer. If you don't catch them, they will kill again. So it does seem like there's maybe a kind of, one kind of big bad, at least, running through this kind of thing. But you can do lots of bits in between, you know, every third, every fifth, maybe not even, you know, there's no frequency to it, but every so often you're like, cool, I'll go and take on this job. Great, I've understood that. I've done it and we've worked it out. But whilst I've been doing that, something has happened on this bigger
Mm-hmm.
storyline narrative. Because, as you say, and very impressively, if characters are on, certain kind of systems to take them through like a day rotation kind of thing, and maybe that kind of alters and stuff kind of every couple of days and those sorts of things, that stuff will happen without you. It will be this living world that will just go on, and that is what we have spoken about for years, of wanting to
Mm-hmm.
actually experience that the world just lives, and if you ain't fucking doing what you need to do,
Yeah.
stuff happens. So
Yeah.
yeah, this looks, and from what you sort of said of this sort of the first sort of scenario that you've jumped into, does
Yeah.
look really impressive
Yeah.
in what's going on behind the scenes. Let
Yeah.
alone the kind of absolutely ridiculous aesthetic that it's gone for,
Yeah.
and just how good that lighting and those sorts of things
Mhm.
look with it. So
It's
yeah,
something that has a ton of potential, and I
mm,
hope it fulfills that. I hope it's just like, because I don't want, like, as I said, that apartment building where I find the guy. It had tons of flaws, but if you go into each, say, if you just like, okay, I'm gonna knock on every door or whatever. I don't want it to be like, okay, it's just here as set dressing. I want
yeah,
something interesting, you know, in those apartment buildings that would, make, you know, exploring what seems like such a cool space worthwhile. So,
mm,
as I
mm,
say, it's how much they can fill it out with, make each of those environments and interiors interesting and worth the time, like
absolutely,
exploring. Obviously, like having, like, I don't know, say 40 apartments in one place, it's like, okay, not exactly all going to be related to the case, but if it's like, oh, I go into this apartment and I realize that, I don't know, this guy seems a bit shady or something like that. What are the stories of the people in this place? It's sort of like, I guess, like GTA. Sometimes you just randomly go see, randomly follow an NPC or something, and it's like it could be, each of those stories like
mm,
filter into something. It doesn't even have to be related to the case. Just something a bit more interesting than, okay, they just go to work and you. I don't know if you see them or whatever, or,
yeah.
or like, yeah.
This one character is just stood here
Yeah,
forever.
yeah, yeah. It's like, oh, this is interesting, and it's like, oh, they went to this club or something, and this
Mm,
club's seedy, and this club has some dodgy dealings going on. You know what I mean? It's like I want it to be like have more things that are just like off the beaten path,
sure.
not just like, okay, this is like very tunnel vision. I need to find this guy's killer and just like have that
Mm,
be the only objective and follow this very rigid string. I don't want that. It's like I want the whole world to feel like it's not all part of a crime syndicate, but just like have interesting things going on. But I mean, it's a tall ask. Maybe I'm
yeah.
I'm asking for
Yeah.
much, but it seems very promising with what they can do. And yeah, it's in early access, so
Mm.
possibly more mechanics will be added. I'll probably have to read the roadmap and see what they're planning to add. If it's just like polishing. But
Yeah, some of the answers within their early access questions are very interesting.
hmm
And why early access? They very much say that the game is kind of pretty much made, but they
hmm
didn't want to release a game and then come up with a bunch of bugs, or people start to experience issues. They want to capture them first before a full release, because of, as they say it, given the massive scope of the game and the nature of its AI systems. Launching in early access first allows us to identify any unusual edge case issues.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, and it says that the game that they're planning at least for it to be in early access for 6 months, so it's going to come out around about
Uh,
November, December time as maybe a finished kind of product. But again, they say very much, although this could extend depending on player feedback and development updates.
mhm.
So they're going into a little bit of depth in their answers about why they've gone into early access and that sort of thing as well. But yeah, just very impressive so far,
Hmm.
just from what
Yeah,
you've said and
yeah,
what I've read now. So
yeah.
one to just keep an eye on, I guess. And it will be, I suppose, it's one of those, unlike something like Darkest Dungeon 2, which is, here is the bare bones of the game, and we've released it as, not the bare bones at least, here is the ideas that we currently are running with for the
Hmm.
game as our zero point 0.1 early access version. Right, we've really changed something in point 2, and point 3 then amends this bit over here. Point 4 then has changed these kinds of things. Point 5 has added
Hmm.
more characters. And running through it like this game seems like it's there. And actually,
Yeah.
what you're playing now, Lucy, is
Hmm.
likely to be very, very similar to the final version.
Hmm.
It's just that they're ensuring there's no big issues with
Okay.
what you're actually playing. You know, you go to the apartment and suddenly the cops bust in because the guy who's dead was wanted for drugs and you're fucking just shot on sight. Like,
Yeah.
could
Yeah.
happen, but would be very frustrating if you've just started the game. So let's make sure that that doesn't happen. That tag that this dead body has doesn't include one that's going to make everybody suddenly appear in the room and do some shit for. I guess it's that kind of tweaking and ensuring that those
Hmm.
systems are running very smoothly that they're
Yeah.
looking at ensuring that they've done before it releases as a full
Yeah.
version.
Yeah. Makes sense. And yeah, that it's always a worry with procedurally generated games, like how much of you know what needs a human touch, like creating
Mm.
new scenarios, new ways of murder, and stuff like that, to make sure the game doesn't get repetitive with just like
Yes.
solving cases in the same way, or not even the same way, using the exact same mechanics. Like, okay, do fingerprint, and I don't know, go to somewhere where the deceased recently went and fingerprint in that place, and it just seems like it would be a missed opportunity if it was okay. We're just gonna use this more as a stealth game rather than like a thinky game.
Sure. Yeah, yeah,
you know.
yeah. Absolutely.
Um, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah,
I'll check back
yeah.
in with it. Um,
I'd love to speak to these guys as well, or
mm,
the team, to see kind of, they're like, yeah, we played lots of Deus Ex, we played some Prey, we
mhm,
played a little bit of LA Noire, we love Blade Runner, to see where all of these kinds of things have fed in, and for them
mhm,
to go, cool, we liked Deus Ex, but we liked LA Noire, but
mm,
all of those, we found that there were these restrictions in these kinds of ways, and we want to just break that.
mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, good, nice, nice.
Mhm, mhm.
Um, is there anything else this week that you'd like to touch upon?
Fortunately, no.
Okay,
Um, yeah, nothing.
no, that's fair. That's fair. Uh,
I don't know. It's a weird year for video games and me. Nothing's grabbed me.
mm-hmm.
Um, I think Dread was probably the last game that I was just like, yeah, this is
Yeah,
cool, and grabbed me and just played it non-stop until it was done. My heart is clearly yearning for Hollow Knight, but that's not
mate.
happening.
Who
It's not
knows? Who
happening. It's not
knows?
happening.
There is
I've
an
accepted.
Xbox showcase coming up, well, next month. Is it scheduled for June, I think? And I'd imagine
Okay.
there's going to be, around that E3 sort of time, there's going to be everyone that's going to do a little thing.
Ben,
It's not part of E3, but
my heart can't take it anymore, Ben.
does Needle suddenly just appear on screen on a
No.
Switch, treehouse,
Don't,
not tree, what are they called now?
but,
It's a direct
uh,
thing,
yeah.
um, and then just disappear
Don't give
again,
me
and
hope.
just
Yeah.
a date. Not even gameplay, just a still image of Needle, and then a
They
date
should really
afterwards.
just drop it, like, like randomly, and just break the internet, just because it would be funny. You know what I mean? It would be funny.
It would.
I, I don't want to wait anymore. I'm just being like, okay, at least Blasphemous 2 is out and, well, coming out and
Mm.
will be real. Did you ever finish the first one?
No. Oh, absolutely not. I doubt I even got halfway through.
Oh, okay.
It just I don't know whether it's because of the areas that I was trying to access, and maybe there was an easier path to go on, but the skill level of that game jumped massively
Oh,
for
right,
me, and
okay.
I didn't
Yeah.
jump with that. So I bashed my head several times. So
dear.
like I'm gonna put it down for a bit, but I never went back to it. So
Oh, that's fair. I mean, we're just different game. Like
yeah,
I thought it was quite straightforward and easy.
so fucking easy, mate. What are you talking
But
about?
that's well, maybe not easy, but most bosses like I killed like second time round. So it was, but as I say, my brain's broken in a very particular way.
I think it was more the traversal and
Yes,
the
yes,
placement of the kind of just
that was
in the
harder.
world
Yeah.
enemies that was the hard part of that game. It's like,
I
okay,
remember
cool.
going up some like snowy mountain, and that
Yes.
was like, damn.
And there's
That was
fucking
probably the hardest part of
wind,
the
and you're
game.
like, cool, yeah,
Yes.
this is. I've played this kind of thing before. I've got to
Yeah.
adjust for wind. I'm dead.
Yeah, I think that was the hardest part of the game, and that's quite early on, so
Yeah.
I can see why that would like put people off.
Yes.
But
Yes.
I'm stubborn and I like the art, and like, I
But
need
it's
to finish
then when you
this.
go, cool, I've
Combat's cool.
unlocked, I've unlocked a lift, which brings me here
Yeah,
a little bit
Yeah.
later, and those sorts of things. You're like, cool, that's great. I'm just gonna retreat back to the man who's fucking blind and chat to him for a little bit. He's not gonna tell me anything new. He doesn't give a shit. Like, just go and chat to him for a bit. 'Cause
He
I don't wanna
doesn't
be
care
on
about
snowy
your
mountain.
plight.
Like, yeah, exactly. Like, help
Yeah,
the
that game's
people. I'm
weird.
like, I don't want to.
Yeah.
Just leave me alone.
I really, really enjoyed Blasphemous.
Mm.
Yeah, in the absence of Hollow Knight never coming out, I'll play Blasphemous too.
Nice. Have you? What's the one that released the Metroidvania that Lee's been playing? Benedict.
Oh, the
something?
last case of Benedict Fox, I think is a full title. I started it up. I haven't got back to it. I need to. It looks like I don't know. I did the tutorial, which is like 5 minutes, less than that probably, and then it's like, oh, they're in like this spooky Addams Family house, and I pressed pause, and there's a map, and this is very much my kind of thing, where it's like Metroidvania. So, yeah, I want to get back to that, but I don't know, just don't have the impetus to play anything other than Vampire Survivors.
Which is fair.
Yeah,
As we
turn your
mentioned on the
brain
last
off.
episode we were on together, it's all you need. It's the only game you need forever. It's fine.
Yeah, you're not wrong. The new DLC is cool.
And
It's like mushroom people.
and as you mentioned in the Discord, they're going to be making an anime as well. As we said, they should probably just make an anime, and then suddenly it's like, oh yes, we're making an anime.
They heard you, Ben.
Yeah.
Royalties, get that royalty money.
I'm glad I'm just throwing ideas out into the ether and they
Yes.
just become reality now.
You are the only person to have that idea, so you know we can. Yeah, clear line between our podcast and them making money. So.
Completely. We should be able to claim something at some point, at least to keep us in beers for at least another kind of 2 weeks or something like that. So that's fine. Good. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's return to our beers then and finish out for this episode. Lucy, the Pollies.
Yeah, it's really good. I mean, remains good. It's still, yeah. The reason I've been supping it slowly, because the taste just lingers. It's got a really nice aftertaste, like still fruity, still a little bit piney, a little bit bitter. So just really well balanced. And Pollies make good beer. Like, can never differentiate them. Like Bohemian IPA is like any other IPA I've had from them, but it still tastes good.
It's like all the augmented series as well. It's sort of like we're doing some different things. It's like yes,
yes, I'm sure you are. Mosaic and Simcoe. I love Mosaic. Simcoe's good. Yeah. Yep.
Fair.
Yeah. It's good.
Good.
What more can you say?
Yeah. Returning back to this Stiggy Pop from Magic Rock. it actually finished very similarly to how it started. So those flavors did kind of battle each other all through the beer. It didn't level out to a point where it became kind of one cohesive sort of flavor. And the lasting taste that I've got is of that more floral alcohol kind of aftershavey sort of flavor, which is, I mean, the thing that changed was that it became a little bit more maybe chewy, a little bit more sticky. So it became a little bit more sort of like, okay, I'm getting those kind of alcohol bits now. I don't want this. Let's have another sip to get back to the start of that slightly more fluid, kind of oily sort of start to it. So I don't know. I don't think I would pick this up again. It's not much of a hit for me. It's fine as a one-off, and it's an interesting range of flavors. But yeah, it's not a supermarket staple that I'm going to be rushing to Tesco's to pick up every week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what the post Brexit and recession supermarket suite will be called. Supermarket staple, where you can only pick up like own brands and just the basics. Like, no, you can't pick up that nice TV. You can only get rice.
And everything is in exactly the same size carton. You're like, oh good, I've got 500ml of passata. Oh good, I've got 500ml of orange juice. Oh good, I've got 500ml of rice, all in exactly the same cardboard lined box.
We'll resurrect Dale Winton, God bless his heart and soul.
It's just him throwing cartons at people. Just, here you go.
Oh, you got the baked beans, did you? Very, very good. No,
chicken soup in this 500ml carton. Beautiful.
Yeah, leave the wine. Supermarket staple. Alcoholic. Can't get that.
Oh, good. I mean,
did you see that? Was it like, I can't remember what it is, this morning or something like that, where it was they were like doing the was it what's his name? Holly Willoughby and the geezer, where they were doing like this competition, and they were like spinning this wheel, and it's like, oh, you get your energy bills paid for this month. That was one of the prizes you could win in like what is just a dystopia now. It's not like, oh, forget the cruise, forget the trip to Egypt. I want them to pay my energy bills
fucking
for the
hell,
next 2
really?
months.
That's fucking nuts. Oh mate.
Yeah, it was like
just like, you know,
Dickensian times.
low kind of, you know, low price new garden furniture set. Cool. All right. Yeah. Fine. Next low kind of prize exercise bike or some shit.
Yeah.
You know, and then you're like, cool. Or I could get a new car, or a holiday, an all-inclusive holiday to the Caribbean. Perfect. I absolutely. I'm done. No, just gonna pay for your gas for a bit, mate.
Yeah. And the person who won that, they were so like thankful and like relieved, and it's like, it's so sad, and it's like, yeah, I'm sure more people would want their energy bills paid for than having a new car.
That's nuts, isn't it? Absolutely nuts.
And it was just like, oof. What times are we living in? That'll be like, what was the higher or lower one? The Price is Right.
Okay.
Your higher bill, your energy bills higher or lower this winter than this Fiat Punto or something like that. And we'll resurrect Bruce for that one.
Oh, nuts! It's fucking.
Yeah.
It is laughable, but it's also fucking diabolical.
Yes. If you don't laugh, you'll cry, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like,
Absolutely. Especially, you know, I definitely missed the £66 the government paid me because I exist to go towards the overpriced energy bill that I'm currently paying when they just decided to fucking stop that. It's absolutely fine for me, and I can laugh about that sort of shit. Not fine for a lot of people who are suddenly like, why am I paying £200 a month now to heat my 1-bedroom flat that's got me and my 2 kids fucking living in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they'll just tell you, stop buying avocados, and you'll be fine, apparently.
Absolutely. No more coffee, no more avocado, no coffee out, no more avocados. And I suppose as long as they've got, spend that £3 you spend on your coffee on an entry to this morning's Wheel of Fortune to be able to win a month's worth of fucking gas.
Yeah.
Lots of these games that we play, which are dystopian fucking futures, aren't that far off anymore, are they?
No, like basically in Citizen Sleeper Time, where it's not on a spaceship.
Yeah,
there's no difference.
Just here. Yeah. I did see, and my final thought was I saw a tweet from The Last Worker.
Oh yeah.
Which was quote tweeting something to say that Amazon are getting rid of like 5,000 jobs because they're going to be putting AI systems in. And the tweet from The Last Worker basically said, "Our game is not political." That was it. It was like brilliant, perfect tweet.
They must work for Ubisoft. Yeah.
Brilliant. The state of fucking things, eh?
I don't know if you'll ever play Wilmot's Warehouse, but pretty much the same ending. Poor Wilmot. He took pride in that, and
just overworked.
God, that game is just it cut me deep. It was so stressful. I didn't want Wilmot to get sacked, but capitalism just works that way.
I'm gonna Will is it M-O-U-T?
Or M-O-T.
Yeah,
Wilmot. What's Warehouse?
Wilmot's
Warehouse.
It's not coming. Is it double L? Maybe it's a single L.
I'm sure it's just W.
Yeah, it's a single L.
ILM.
That's where I'm going wrong.
Yeah.
Cool.
Very good game. That is
I don't know why that's not been on my wish list, considering we've talked about it a lot.
Yeah. It scratches an itch.
Yeah.
That is 9 out of 10 on Steam. Very nice. Yeah, just scratches an itch.
Yeah, perfect.
It was free on. It was free on Epic Game Store in 2020. So I don't know if you want to check.
Ooh.
You got it on there.
Who knows? I'll have a look. I did miss a lot of Epic Games deals for a period of time, but I'll have a look. I'll see whether it comes up.
Okay.
Nice. Cool. Okay. I suppose that's it for this week. We've talked about the beers. We've talked about the games. We've cried a little bit about late stage capitalism and the state of the world that has spun out of all of this.
Especially now that Waypoint Radio's going.
Oh, I'm so fucking sad about that.
Oh no. That one hurts. It's like, man, what am I going to listen to?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Who's going to fight the fucking good fight?
Who's actually going to have good criticism of games outside of Xbox good, Switch bad, PlayStation good, Sega bad? You know what I mean? It's like
the big fights. Yeah, PlayStation versus Sega. Nintendo versus Xbox, those.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's like, who's actually going to have these conversations without, I don't know.
I did.
It's like, I don't care, like, how fast the woman in Forspoken flies. You know what I mean? It's like, actually talk about things maybe outside the game. Other than the gameplay itself. I don't care if the sound design's cool.
Yeah.
Speak of something that's actually worthwhile to my interest.
Yes, completely. I did read, and I'll leave everyone on this. I I did read on Twitter today, and the absolute hellscape that Twitter is.
It's really bad now.
There's
Like
a
all
there's a
the
there's like
blue
a get
ticks are
rid of
just like, oh,
Phil Spencer campaign
oh
going on.
really?
Yeah,
I mean, he's done a lot good. I think Xbox are only like just about here still now in the conversation because of what he did. But
absolutely.
I don't know. There's been something systemically wrong in that company about actually making and shipping games. That needs to be looked at for sure. But you know what? I like Big Phil. I don't really care. I have no horse in this race. I mean, I think it's because Redfall is like bad, and it's like,
A lot
oh
of it has
bless
come from
you,
that. Yes.
oh
Yeah.
bless you. You thought that was going to be good. It's just like this really boring vampire game that looks like it came out when Twilight came out, when people actually cared.
But again,
And just like
Arcane, who have made some fantastic single player, edging on
yeah,
immersive sim games, going
yeah, but this
into a
never looked good.
co-op shooter.
But this never looked good right from the get go because it's not what Arcane do for a start.
Yep.
This is like a co-op shooter. You know what I mean? It's like, oh,
Absolutely.
Anthem wasn't good. You know, the Marvel was it not Guardians of the Galaxy? Was
Avengers.
it the Avengers game is not good. Could have thought, but no, it's like I think it's more of a indictment on them just because Sony's doing well with their first party things and have been for the last 12, 13 years or so.
Yeah,
but,
absolutely.
so I really couldn't care less. Like I don't care about Halo, even though that's been a car crash. What happened? And it's like I feel sorry for people who do think that those. I think AAA games for me anyway, especially. It's just like most of them are bad. The ones that are good, it's like are like rare. You know what I mean? It's like so it's like, oh, another AAA game is bad or just middling. Okay, move on. So much more to play. But yeah, I mean that Hi-Fi Rush game was very good.
Yes.
I need to get back to that. So I don't know what else they've had out recently. Xbox. Was Forza? No, Forza was a few years ago.
Yeah, Forza was 2 years ago now, maybe. Pentiment.
That was really good, yeah. So it's just like, yeah, I don't know how rushed out this was, or it just seemed like the whole concept was dead in the water, and they just like put it out. But
well, but again,
I mean, it doesn't cost anybody anything, so why are people getting mad for a start? It's like just get Game Pass. It's like
absolutely.
Okay, say if you even pay £10 a month for it, you've got all these other games. So,
and it's one of those where I didn't like Age of Empires 4 when it released to an Xbox or a Microsoft made game. I didn't enjoy it, and I luckily having Game Pass just went back and played Crusader Kings 3 instead. Different game, but it hit the same kind of itch for me.
Yeah.
So at least with Game Pass, there is such a wealth of games on there that everyone will find something for them. If Microsoft's first party games aren't really hitting.
But it just seems like just a reason to like sling, oh, my console's better than your console because Redfall's better. It's like, who cares? Just buy a PlayStation as well then.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what I don't understand. It's like, why does Microsoft have to be up there with AAA games with Sony? I mean, from a business side point of view, it's like because Sony's games sell. But from a clout point of view, who cares? Square Enix have no good games. You know what I mean? They're still, going along fine.
Oh,
They're
Fantasy
talking about
16's out in like a
NFTs and
month's
stuff.
time.
Yeah, which may be good. It may be very good. It ain't gonna be Final Fantasy 14, is it? It's like which keeps them, chugging along. I don't get it. It's just like, because anyone who's just in the Xbox ecosystem now has just like such a low barrier of entry into playing these games. If you don't like Redfall, then it didn't cost you anything to buy it.
Absolutely.
You know?
I blame Crackdown 3.
I mean, that was the ultimate Game Pass game because it's like I had fun with that. It was just like a mindless thing that played with a podcast. Is it good? No. It's probably more bad than it is good. But I never expected it to be good.
Yeah.
I think people have too high an expectation of Xbox. And it's like, where did you get this from? Just be disappointed.
Just all
every
the time.
time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Going with zero expectations.
Good.
Yeah, I need to see this hashtag get Bill out.
Yeah, jump on Twitter and have a look.
Yeah, I mean, better the devil you know, though. Like, he actually likes games and plays games. Like, if you get in someone like Don Matrick, then it's game over, isn't it? They're just like, we're going to put XL on every Xbox.
Could you imagine that the ActiBliz King deal doesn't go through, Phil gets shifted, and they bring in Bobby Kotick to start running Xbox? Like, I mean,
hey, we'll get a new Gears game every year. Why not?
That's what the Xbox gamers want. New good Gears game, just clone it every single time.
I wouldn't say no.
No, absolutely. The same Forza, the same Gears, just churn them out.
Yeah,
easy.
Yeah. I mean, Starfield is the next big one, isn't it?
Yes. Well,
I think that's going to come out broken as hell.
I mean,
but
if the previous games are anything to go by, yes, it will be absolutely. It will be fun. It will be broken.
Yeah,
fun.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It's going to be a fun ride. It's going to be even funner seeing everyone freak out. But yeah, that game looks like it could be cool. And I don't even like space. And it's like, that game could be cool. And if it's broken, that seems like it may be cool. Yeah. Because, yeah, I mean, Skyrim in space and broken? Hell yeah.
Man, you can see it, can't you? Just as soon as the game sort of starts up and it's all very serious, like you've got to get to your, you've got to get to your spaceship, blah, 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 blah. And there's just someone in the background like, fucking moving backwards and forwards because the body like, fucking models just
didn't realise it was low gravity over there.
They're actually, it's an actual mission. They're in the background like, oh, help me. And everyone's just like, no, it's a bug. Oh, fucking hell.
Has that got a date?
Ooh,
is it coming out this summer or something?
September-ish sort of time, I think. August or September, yeah.
That will be fun.
You'd be thinking that maybe everyone in Xbox, in all of their internal studios, are thinking a little bit around, maybe we just want a touch more polished time.
Yeah, and yeah, let's hope it comes out well for everybody's sake.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I'm maybe that's what I'm looking forward to. I need like an open world. Like, it's been a while since I played an open world. I guess Elden Ring's open world. So yeah.
But that's when did you play that? Last year or the year before?
Yeah, it's like I only have like one in me per year, if that.
It's fair.
Maybe Zelda is this year. Maybe Starfield.
That's only in like 3 or 4 weeks.
A week away, yeah.
Is that all? It's really a week away.
It's 12th, so yeah, it's coming out next week, next Friday. I'm looking forward to that. I'm just gonna give it a punt and jump in.
Yeah.
So I think I need to get lost in something. So I think that's what I need. If it wasn't, it's Hollow Knight.
I suppose. So join us in a couple of weeks to hear Lucy's thoughts on Zelda.
Yeah, I'll be like, it's crap.
Who knows what we're going to talk about? Yeah. Who knows what we're going to
Link's
talk about?
Weapons keep breaking.
Yes, exactly.
Still.
Just weapon degradation is awful. Everybody, go to your podcast service of choice to rate and review us. hit us up on outoflives.net, where you can see our beautiful faces and the beers that we have been drinking in video form if you're not over on the YouTube channel. And there's lots of other stuff going on at outoflives.net. Get us on Twitter at tankedupcast or on Instagram, the much unloved Instagram. I am at Nova_47, and Lucy is
Juicy Loose 9. On that hellscape that is Twitter. Yeah, it's really bad. It's really bad.
Still there, still floating about a bit.
I don't know, but it is. It's just. It looks like after MySpace went down or something like that, and it's just filled with God knows what, just
bots.
Robot. It's literally bots just posting AI art, and it's like. Or people with blue ticks with the worst opinions imaginable. It's just, yeah. I want it to die, and I want something to replace it. I think we're due that time where there needs to be a new social media.
Yeah.
You know? Would you?
I'd agree. Something different, though. Not in the vein of the social medias that we have now. Not your hives, which are kind of Instagram-ish. Or I haven't checked out Mastodon, but whatever that is, who knows?
We need Tumblr back. We need more porn.
I mean, fine. That's a quick Google search, to be fair. We're off now to explore the new social media of porn Google searches. Come and join us in the Discord. Do all of those lovely things. Thank you very much for joining us this week, and we will see you very soon. Goodbye.
Bye.
www.outoflives.net